Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. So, something really interesting started to happen last night that really has started to ramp up the speculation that Sony might indeed be set to announce a new backwards compatibility mode for the PlayStation 5, including the PlayStation 3. This is a rumor that has continued, and things are really starting to heat up now, so we're going to talk about that one here in just a bit. Also, 4 major games just got announced, including a possible big exclusive for Xbox. This kind of came out of nowhere, but it does look like that Activision Blizzard acquisition might already be paying off, as it does seem like they might be hinting at exclusivity, so we're going to go over that one as well. To start this video off, though, we're actually going to be talking about a brand new studio that was just officially announced, and that would be Nagoshi Studio. Now, this is a studio that we have talked about in the past because there was recently a trademark that popped up online revealing Nagoshi Studio, but now it is official. Nagoshi Studio, of course, will be headed up by Toshihiro Nagoshi, which is actually the creator of the Yakuza franchise, and it will be funded by NetEase. So pretty much all of the rumors about this situation was true after all, but this is where things get really interesting, because one thing that I did not know previously is that Toshihiro Nagoshi did not come alone. In fact, he actually brought several former Sega members, most of which actually worked on the Yakuza franchise. So they have a pretty nice little stable of staff here. And I mean, if you like the Yakuza franchise, I definitely think that Nagoshi Studio is worth keeping an eye on. As to exactly what they're working on, we don't know that just yet, but I do think that there's a couple of key details here that we can take a look at. One being, they did say that they're going to focus on developing high-end titles for a worldwide release, primarily on consoles. So I imagine at the very least, this is probably going to release on Xbox, PlayStation, and possibly PC. We'll kind of have to wait and see about the official platforms a little bit later on. But something else that they do note here is that while they do know and understand Japan the most, they want to make a game that's accepted worldwide. I would say that Yakuza kind of fits that description. Obviously, it is very focused on Japan, but it is accepted worldwide, and a big part of that is the storytelling in those games. I think that in specific is what makes this new Nagoshi Studio here so exciting, because if you've played the Yakuza franchise, you probably know they really are some of the best stories in video games right now. So I'm really interested to see what he can do next with a completely new project. Actually, that is something else that he answered here. There has been some questions as to exactly why he decided to leave Sega to go over to NetEase to form his own company, and he did answer that question, and basically it kind of boils down to he wanted to try something different. He didn't want to continue to work on the same game over and over again, and that's why he decided to make his own studio instead. Next up, let's go and start talking about those big game announcements, because surprisingly, this was a very busy day in the gaming world. In this case, Respawn Entertainment over at EA announced 3 different games today, which are all from the Star Wars franchise. Yes, this does include the highly anticipated sequel for Jedi Fallen Order. This has been rumored for a while now, but it's officially been confirmed that Jedi Fallen Order 2 is in development and will be coming soon. I think that alone is already going to get a lot of fans excited, but surprisingly, Respawn Entertainment is actually working on 2 other Star Wars games. Now, they did not go into great details as to exactly what these games are. What they did say is that one is a first-person shooter, and then the other one is some kind of publishing collaboration with BitReactor on a strategy game. Now, as for the first-person shooter, I have seen some fans speculate that maybe it could be a new Battlefront game, but interestingly enough, over in a separate report by Jeff Grubb on GameSpeed, he actually made it sound like Battlefront 3 is just not happening at EA at all. He does state that DICE will not be working on another Battlefront game as they continue to put out fires for Battlefield 2042. Again, that game just should not have launched in the state that it was in. However, from what we're currently hearing, it does sound like that this Respawn Star Wars first-person shooter could be a completely unique project. Now, that's kind of the other thing about this situation, though. I think for Star Wars fans, this news is incredibly exciting. However, for Titanfall fans, I think this is a little bit bittersweet. Last year, we did start to get some hints that they were probably working on Jedi Fallen Order 2. There was also some leaks pointing towards this as well. And I continue to say on this channel, don't worry about it, because they do have multiple teams, and that one of those teams could possibly be working on something like a Titanfall 3. What I did not expect, though, is that they have multiple teams working on multiple Star Wars games. That was a little unexpected, but as I said before, Respawn Entertainment is just such an excellent studio, and I mean, if you like Star Wars, this is certainly very, very exciting news. Let's go and talk about this other major game announcement though, and this one just kind of came out of nowhere, but Blizzard just announced a brand new game. And when Blizzard announces a new game, the community is definitely going to react. Blizzard has a big fan following, especially over on the PC side of things. They're kind of like Valve in that sense because they have such a history of making great franchises over on the PC platform. I mean, you're talking about World of Warcraft, you're talking about StarCraft, Overwatch, Diablo. I mean, they have put out some fantastic games over the years. So when you see that Blizzard logo, you do expect a high quality experience. That's the type of reputation that Blizzard has built up over the years. And well, they did just announce their next brand new IP, which is some kind of survival game. Unfortunately for fans that are wanting to see more on this game, they didn't reveal any kind of trailer or any kind of cinematic or anything like that. This was done through a simple blog post with some concept art and a brief description. It seems like this was more to entice talent to come over to work on this game, but at the same time, it's also going to garner a lot of excitement within the community. Again, this is Blizzard's next big IP, but about that description, this is where things get interesting, and this has created a lot of discussion. And actually, let's just go and check out what they said here. Blizzard is embarking on our next quest. We are going on a journey to a whole new universe, home to a brand new survival game for PC and console, a place full of heroes we have yet to meet, stories yet to be told, and adventures yet to be lived. A vast realm of possibility waiting to be explored. Every story needs a teller, and every world needs builders. What if that could be you? So there's your brief description and everything, but what people are kind of specifically focused on here is the platforms. And it's very interesting that they said PC and console as in singular. Now, the reason that this is so important is because this is actually the first Activision Blizzard game that has been announced since Microsoft announced their intent to acquire Activision Blizzard. So with that in mind, their phrasing here seems to be very deliberate. They're not quite saying that this is going to be exclusive to Xbox, but they are kind of phrasing it in a way that you can leave that up to interpretation that yes, this very well might possibly be exclusive to Xbox. If this game does indeed release after the Xbox acquisition, then yeah, more than likely it would end up being exclusive. And I think that that's why they phrased it the way they did here. It really all depends when this game is released. And knowing Blizzard, they do take a long time to develop, so this is probably not going to come out anytime soon. Keep in mind, though, that nothing is confirmed just yet, but it does seem like the wording here is intentional, and that could be Blizzard trying to play it safe, because, again, if this is released post-acquisition, then there is a very good chance that it could end up being exclusive. I mean, unless there's some prior contractual obligations that we don't know about, but as of this moment, I would at least expect this to release on PC and Xbox. Now, as for this game, though, I have already seen some people kind of hype it up online, including Jason Schreier. Jason Schreier did say over on Twitter that even some of the most disgruntled Blizzard employees rave about this game and team. That's already a great sign, and actually a former Blizzard producer actually posted this as well. My husband and my friend are on this team, and it is excellent and has a culture that represents the growing positive future for Blizzard. This team has it right, people, I promise. So I think for fans that's kind of concerned about what's happening within Activision Blizzard, it seems like this team right here is in a good position, which is definitely a good thing to hear. Either way, though, this is definitely a game to keep an eye on, and as we hear more about this game in the future, I, of course, will keep you all updated. Let's go and talk about PlayStation though, as those PlayStation 3 backwards compatible rumors continues to mount, and this is something that we have been hearing a lot about here recently. Of course, as we all know, there was this big Bloomberg article which stated that Sony is working on this quote-unquote Xbox Game Pass competitor, and that it will be combining PlayStation Plus with PlayStation Now, and it will also have some form of backwards compatibility with PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and the PlayStation Portable. Now, I have been a little skeptical of this article because when they talk about backwards compatibility, they don't really go into any kind of detail. And when they say that they're combining PlayStation Now with PlayStation Plus, the first thing that I'm immediately thinking is, well, PlayStation Now already allows you to play PlayStation 3 games through streaming. So Are these PlayStation 3 games going to work on the PlayStation 5 locally, or with the inclusion of PlayStation Now, are they just going to continue to be streamed? That really is the major question right now. Are these games going to be played locally, or are they going to be streamed? Well, the thing about all that is that there's some other things that are kind of pointing at that Sony might actually be working on some kind of backwards compatibility for the PlayStation 5, as recently there was a patent discovered that mentioned backwards compatibility through the use of spoof clock and fine-grained frequency control. So there's that as well, and then most recently, what started happening last night. So what was happening is that several fans started to report that they were having some problems with PlayStation trophies. It seemed like all PlayStation 4 games were actually showing up as corrupt PlayStation 3 games. There was no trophy tracking or anything, just a simple PlayStation 3 logo and nothing else. And this, of course, has led to the speculation that maybe Sony was working on something on the back end and they messed something up, which that actually is quite possible, but this leans back into the rumor that maybe they are indeed working on backwards compatibility for the PlayStation 5 after all. Now, it could just also be some kind of error. That's very possible as well, but it's also kind of ironic that the PlayStation 3 just continues to pop up right around the rumors that PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility will be included on the PlayStation 5. Now, I might be a little skeptical that the PlayStation 3 will have local backwards compatibility on the PlayStation 5, but if this really ends up happening, I will be absolutely thrilled. I don't really get to talk about it that much, but I'm a big fan of the PlayStation 3, and I think it has a great library of games that I would love to revisit once again. I mean, it has games like Killzone, Resistance, Little Big Planet, Metal Gear Solid 4, and the list just kind of goes on and on. It has a great library of games, and if they find a way to make those games work locally on the PlayStation 5, yeah, that to me would be fantastic. At the same time, though, it is important to keep in mind that this is just currently rumors and speculation, and this again could just very well possibly be some kind of error. It is ironic that this is happening amidst all the rumors currently, but keep in mind that errors do happen, so we'll just still have to kind of wait and see what happens. Speaking of PlayStation, though, let's go and talk about the poll of the day, where I asked you all, if PlayStation brought back one of their first-person shooter franchises, which would you prefer? This has been a hot topic over the last week, as there has been some questions surrounding the Call of Duty franchise and what will happen with it going forward. So some fans were kind of wondering maybe they should revive one of their first-person shooters, and that's why I wanted to ask you all, which one would you prefer to see the most? And as you can see here, first place was Killzone with 45% of the votes. Resistance took second place with 22%. Then you had SOCOM at 21%, and then MAG at 4%. So Killzone is definitely a fan favorite here with the majority of the votes. And you know what? I completely agree with you all here. True story, but Killzone 2 is actually the game that got me to buy a PlayStation 3. I was absolutely blown away the first time I saw Killzone 2, as it was just a stunning game, both artistically and visually. But then I actually got to play it for myself, and the great thing about Killzone 2 was it was also a really fun game. I think to this day, Killzone 2 stands out to me because of just how different it feels than other first-person shooters in the market. The way it controls, it's got a lot of weight to it, and it just feels completely unique. I really enjoyed Killzone 2 a lot. Now, I know Shadowfall wasn't all that great, but at the same time, I feel like this is a franchise that would be very beneficial for PlayStation's library of games. Now, I will, however, also say that I really do like Resistance. You all did vote that as your number 2 game, and I'm with you all on this one as well. To me, I always preferred Resistance in terms of its single player, but Killzone, I always liked its multiplayer more, so it really just depends on what type of first-person shooter I would want. But yes, I think both of these are excellent franchises, and for that matter, so is SOCOM. SOCOM has a very dedicated fan base, as that was actually one of the first multiplayer shooters on the market. But yeah, hopefully Sony brings back one of these franchises sometime in the near future. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.